Okay, Johnny, I think it's time to get... Oh my god.
What was that?
I think it was like an onomatopoeia. Hold on, I'm gonna turn off the camera. Okay, it's everything, but maybe if we just don't move.
Zach.
What?
I'm sorry.
What? Thank you, and welcome to Quite Contrary, the only show that's mathematically designed to disagree with you, and I'm almost certain of it this time, because today we are going to be talking about a beloved film, like an instant classic, The Incredibles Dose. Johnny?
Yes.
Before we get to it,
All right.
your real feelings on the movie.
It was a well-made movie that I believe I was not the target demographic for.
But it had so much boozing.
Oh, so that you're pigeonholing me?
Yeah.
Just boozing, that's all I'm about? How dare you, sir?
I mean, Jessica, wouldn't you say that's accurate?
Yeah.
So ultimately, yes, it was a good movie. Will I be seeing it again? It'll be just like the first one. The first Incredibles. I saw it once, 17 years ago, never again.
Which is crazy because it's such a good movie.
Yeah.
It's very, 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 very good. My feelings?
Yes, what are your feelings?
That this movie was okay. It did not live up to the first one. Even a little bit. There were definitely some things that I really liked about this movie. A lot of the jokes landed for me and stuff like that. But the first one is just, I don't know, it's an important movie to me. Mm-hmm. You know, I think of it as one of those rare things that teaches its lesson incredibly well.
Okay.
And I find value in that, particularly for young viewers.
This one didn't help young viewers much.
It did not. Which is why it's so much easier to do this video today, because we know everybody loves this movie because they love the original. But it wouldn't be fair to allow this movie to rest on the laurels of the previous one. So here's what sucks about it. Number one, this movie is shallow. Now what I mean by that is that everything that this movie was attempting to teach us felt a little bit tacked on. There's so many plot threads and parables and morals and elements of this movie that are crammed into it using just one or two lines so that we can get back to Elastigirl jumping around. And not that they didn't do some really creative stuff with that, but good action sequences does not a good movie make. I think I've actually said that before.
No, and we've talked about this off camera, like how one of the main themes that you see in all the commercials is about how there's a role reversal. And you get Mr. Incredible being the stay-at-home dad, and apparently he's struggling with that. Mm. And then
not only dealing with the children, but also as a point of pride to himself, his ego takes damage because of the way he views, family roles.
Right, exactly. And then Elastigirl's got this new job, and she's supposed to be coming into her own with that. And what you see is with those themings, you can see what they were going for, but they didn't spend a lot of time on it. There was not a lot of effort on it, and Mr. Incredible didn't have that bad of a time becoming a stay-at-home dad. He's actually pretty good at it.
And actually, when they could have been spending more time dealing with the emotional side of that conflict, they filled it up with Jack stuff. The thing is that when you're dealing with superhero movies, it's kind of necessary for you to inject this amount of pathos and thought into it. You need to feel something for the characters, because ultimately the characters are super silly. I mean, Batman couldn't get away with this. You'll never win, Batman. Not now that I've shown Gotham its true face.
All you've proven is that this city is full of people ready to believe in public transit.
I'm sorry, what?
They're supporting their local municipality and getting in touch with their community at large.
That's not really what we were discussing.
Plus, they're overcoming their social anxiety. And it's good for the environment.
I was gonna You know what, just let me fall.
Number 2, superheroes are wrong. So in this particular world of superheroes, because all superhero worlds are not created equal, I'll say that.
They're usually going to reflect the powers and the abilities of the hero. You're not going to find a Power Rangers villain in a Batman story because he's just not equipped to deal with it.
Right. And one of the themes that we saw actually from the first one and the second Incredibles movie is this talk about whether superheroes are needed or not.
Yes.
The liability of having superheroes. And in this movie, they even talk about, in the first big action scene with the villain, what was his name again?
The first one. This one?
The villain, yeah, this one.
This was the Underminer!
The Underminer. So in that whole scene, you have Mr. Incredible, and I know... What's his name? The black guy?
Frozone?
Frozone.
Samuel L. Frozone?
Samuel L. Frozone. Anyway, they get into this big thing about trying to stop him, and they get a talking to after the attempted busting of criminals, busting of
Crime fight?
Crime fight. Yes. Sorry,
You're gonna fight crime.
all my definitions are. Yeah. They get a talking to, and they talk about how they should not have intervened. And they should not have intervened because the bank and everything else involved in this whole heist was insured. So the rest of the movie, they end up telling us basically, oh no, we need superheroes. That's what they're trying to tell us. For why?
But for why though? For this story, that narrative should have been framed up in a much different way, where we had some evidence that the world was either moving past superheroes, and these superheroes were doing these things for extremely vain reasons, or we should have seen a city on the brink of destruction, completely overthrown by villains, and heroes having their hands tied,
Yeah.
afraid to come out of the woodwork.
That would necessitate having superheroes in this world.
Yes.
They'd have a reason. And Zach, you had a great argument of how this movie should have been a trilogy.
Oh, definitely.
And it definitely won't be, because we can't wait for another 17 years for another one of these. But,
No, the first movie should have set up the problem
Yeah.
and established why superheroes were a point of contention for a lot of people.
Right.
The third movie should have been about a supervillain proliferation and then superheroes having to step up and sort of grab power in a way.
Right.
They would essentially create a military state. And then the third movie, it would be about giving up that power, letting go of control and allowing people the freedom that they deserve.
so what would you say to the counter argument of that this is just a kid's movie and all that stuff doesn't matter?
They drink too much in the movie.
That's fair.
I think that because the superheroes do such a bad job at making us trust them, it does teach a valuable moral.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be trusting people in skin-tight suits who are always there at the scene of a crime. Let that be a lesson to you, kids. The next time you see a woman wearing a mask and thigh-high boots, don't trust her.
Yeah. Especially if she makes you pay up front.
Hello there, kiddies. I've interrupted your regularly scheduled program to ask you to subscribe. Do it now. The Joker has spoken. Number 3!
Sorry.
You ready?
Now I am.
Sameness. One big issue with this movie is that there's too much of the same going on. The first movie established that having superheroes in the world is a double-edged sword. Because they're completely unchecked by politicians and the police force, sometimes they act in ways that aren't necessarily for the public good. And in this movie, kind of the same conflict. In fact, there's a lot of similarities between this movie and that movie, not only when it comes to fundamental ideas that are shown, but also some more surface level stuff. For example, the main villain is an extremely smart, normal person capable of manipulating the superheroes with technology.
Did y'all say there was plane trouble?
There's plane trouble,
Train trouble?
train trouble,
Jack trouble?
stain trouble.
Stain trouble.
They cannot keep the suit clean. We even find ourselves in kind of an exotic location on the hydrofoil, and then that conflict leads to a problem in the city. A lot of things are staged up the exact same way. But you know what? I think that might just be the state of the art right now, a reaction to so much retelling and rebooting in the theaters nowadays. I think I need a palate cleanser, something that's nice and original. Show me the first Star Wars movie.
All teams, I'm going in.
And that's our show, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you once again for staying all the way to the very, very end. We do really appreciate it. We also want to point out the fact that we are a fan-funded channel. We absolutely love our patrons. If you'd like to know what exactly we do for them, what the program's like, what the perks are, you can check the link down in the description. We actually have a new video for our patrons.
It'll be out by the time this video comes out.
Yeah, and it completely explains everything and also all the details are there. It's going to be super duper fun. It's going to be great.
Super fun.
And if you like this video, why don't you go ahead and check... Wait. Look, in the sky. It's the link signal!